sky.
Yeah, me know, said the pain and the stress in your life make things feel hopeless. But that's because you're not perfect. That no means that you're worthless. Hey, keep your eyes on the prize. Everything at just time, just keep on working. Just because you're not perfect, that no means that you're worthless. Worthless, well you end up high. Never sacrifice yourself, you get ahead in life. Me know sometimes it gets so rough and you feel terrified. Just hold it out because it's better on the other side. Me know you're feeling down, me see a bag of pain in your eyes. As get a youth we have to make it, there's no other choice. When I'm free also life, it satisfy me appetite. Grabbing the barrel of the explanation of your life. Sometimes I feel free die just so me can go get fit off the cry. The pain and the stress in your life make things feel hopeless. But that's because you're not perfect. That no means that you're worthless. Hey, keep your eyes on the prize. Everything at just time, just keep on working. Just because you're not perfect, that no means that you're worthless. Worthless. Work so hard for everything I want. Sometimes I sit in the dark just for reflect on my past. Might show your love, but me not trust no man. You know the amount of time when them done did me wrong. Me feel free die, but then me turn to God. Them tell me you too strong.
This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 24th day of March in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Guyana is set to be declared free from lymphatic filariasis as a national pill distribution campaign to fight the disease wraps up, with more than 70% of the population receiving the triple drug therapy. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said today the campaign has been a success and the country is now on its way to full elimination of the disease that has plagued the nation for many years.
We have now completed the program. As you know, we started this program a couple of weeks ago, and I'm very pleased to report that the program is now completed. Overall, our assessment is that we have achieved about 70% of the population would have received the filaria pills. We were aiming to get at 65%, so we've exceeded it, and they're now mapping up and doing the numbers. So I think it would even be a little bit higher.
The Mass Drug Administration campaign, which was sponsored by the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization, rolled out in February and served as the last stage of the pill distribution in Guyana. Guyana had been earlier named as a risk country for the disease in Latin America. With different campaigns in 2018 and 2019, the pills to fight filaria were distributed across the country. The third distribution drive should have started last year, but the coronavirus pandemic led to the delay. With the campaign now coming to an end, the Minister of Health said the next step is for the country to be certified by PAHO and the World Health Organization as being free from the disease.
The next step in this process is that we'll finalize those numbers. Then we'll invite PAHO WHO to send a team in to verify what we have completed. And once they're satisfied and they can verify the numbers that we currently have, then they would certify Guyana as being free from filaria.
Dr. Anthony added that this is a great achievement for the country, knowing the battles that the country has faced over the years in tackling the disease and raising awareness.
And that's a good achievement because we have been battling with filaria for many, many decades now. And to be able to eliminate filaria from Guyana is a real feat. And this would have been a challenge that generations of doctors would have tried to work on and to eliminate this disease from Guyana. But, you know, the team that we currently have, and of course the people who participated in this exercise have helped us collectively to eliminate this disease from our country.
Lymphatic filariasis is a mosquito-borne parasitic disease. While it is not fatal, it affects the lymphatic system, leading to a variety of permanent debilitating symptoms, including severe swelling of the genitals and legs and hands. According to data from the Ministry of Health, 60,000 persons in Guyana are already affected by filaria, with more than 500,000 persons living in areas where the disease was found. More news coming up in a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people, we have
Weathered every storm
and risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
All the people,
regardless of race,
class, or religion.
We
are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
At Sash Financial, we create strategies for strengthening business and personal finances while helping our clients to build sustainable wealth. Our financial and business consultancy services are uniquely tailored to ensure every client receives quality packages and optimal results. Our financial services include financial reporting and analysis, financial status assessment, internal audits, bookkeeping and records management, financial planning advice, tax returns. Our business advisory services are related to business plans, business startups, operational improvement, business management, document preparation, procedures development, efficient marketing. Call or WhatsApp us today for your free consultation on telephone number 592-665-6045. Sash Financial, strengthening businesses, building wealth.
I am Susan Rodriguez, Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, and I just took my filaria pills, and I'm urging all Guyanese to ensure that you take your pills. It is important. Filaria is not a terminal disease, but it's one that is often neglected. And so I'm urging everybody, this is serious. You don't want to be suffering for the rest of your life. So please take your pills. It is important. Thank you.
It's trendy to share your vacation plans, photos, and location on social media. But do you know who is seeing your posts? Sharing that you're on vacation or a business can signal to potential burglars that your home is empty. Using location services can also allow people to track your whereabouts, making you an easy target for theft. Be aware of what information you share about your location and your possessions. Remember, what goes online stays online. Stop oversharing and get safe online.
Contributions online? Simply visit our website at www.nis.org.gy. Click on the Create New Account button and enter the required information. An automatic email notification will be sent to acknowledge your application. Once your information is authenticated, you will receive an email within 48 hours with instructions on how to access the site. Once logged in, you can click on the My Contributions tab on the left side of the screen to view your contributions. For further information, you can call our Records Department on 225-2798 or visit your nearest NIS office.
You taste the cheese, you hear the crunch. Grab a zoomers and zoom into fun. And with the first taste, you feel like you don't want it done. Blast off to a whole new place with every single bite. The cheesy goodness bring your taste buds alive. So let's just zoom into fun with this wheel-shaped light. Zoomers, zoomers, zoom into fun.
Go spread the word in your area. We gonna end filaria.
For the past 2 decades, the global community prioritized eliminating lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as filaria, as a public health problem. Many countries in the Americas have achieved this goal.
We're looking to have 100% eradication of this disease in Guyana. So we look forward to all of our citizens working with our teams from the Ministry of Health as they go around in our communities, meeting with you to administer this pills.
And I will encourage you all to take your pills so that we can once and for all rid Guyana of filariasis.
We have to get rid of the negatives in relation to filaria. So please let the science be your guide and take the tablets.
My family would be taking their pills. And I do hope that you would also be taking your pills so that we can together work on eliminating filaria from Guyana.
Filaria gonna get knocked out. TKO.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL?
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
Welcome back. In an address to the nation this evening, President Irfaan Ali announced that the government will be rolling out a massive effort to get more persons vaccinated against the coronavirus. Guyana has so far seen the vaccination of 25,000 persons. From next week, the Health Ministry will begin the vaccination of persons from 40 years and above, the President said. He also announced that the Guyana Defense Forces Medical Brigade and medical students and nursing students will assist with the vaccination initiative.
Citizens 60 years and older. Early in the new week, the vaccination program will be expanded to all persons 40 years and older. To aggressively expand the program, the government of Guyana has procured 200,000 doses of vaccines and is exploring the further procurement of another 200,000 doses, aimed at achieving herd immunity in the fastest possible time frame.
And with 2 sets of holidays coming up next week, the President is pleading with citizens not to let their guards down. He said there will be strict enforcement of the COVID-19 regulations.
To complement the vaccination efforts, the National COVID-19 Task Force has stepped up its enforcement to bring more effective compliance with the COVID-19 guidelines. An expanded joint operation between immigration, the Army, police, regional COVID-19 task force committees, the private sector, and other members of civil society have been engaged in further securing our borders. While several religious and cultural events are ahead of us, the celebration of Pagua, Easter, and the observance of Ramadan, we urge religious leaders and citizens to adhere strictly to the approved COVID-19 guidelines for these events. The COVID-19 Task Force has been advised to pursue charges against owners of establishments that are found in breach of the COVID-19 guidelines.
President Ali also said his government is continuing its efforts to procure COVID-19 vaccines from additional sources. The country was promised 100,000 vaccines through the COVAX initiative, but COVAX has since reduced that number to 24,000. The government has since procured 200,000 doses from another source. With new cases of coronavirus climbing steadily across the country, the Guyana Police Force is moving to get tougher with the enforcement of the COVID-19 regulations. As part of those efforts, the police force wants the public's help. The force has released a number of telephone numbers for citizens to call to report breaches of the COVID-19 regulations. The hotline numbers are 626-6674, 624-3067, and 624-2819. They can also call the GDT toll-free number 0180 to report breaches. At a meeting of the COVID-19 task force earlier this week, the Joint Services was called upon to carry out more enforcement of the COVID regulations. Guyana continues to see a steady increase in COVID-19 cases. There are currently 956 active cases in the country, with 900 of those persons in home isolation. Since the start of March, the country has recorded more than 1,200 new cases. The death toll reached 221 today, following the passing of a 69-year-old Region 4 man. A post-mortem examination was completed today on the body of popular biker Ricardo Fagundes, also known as Paper Shorts, who was gunned down outside a Palm Court night spot on Sunday night. Government pathologist Dr. Nihal Singh gave the cause of death as multiple gunshot injuries. The Guyana Police Force reported that 3 metal fragments were retrieved from the body. News source understands that the body bore more than 12 gunshot wounds. Police investigators are still probing the execution. There has been no arrest, but investigators continue to review footage from CCTV cameras outside the night spot where the incident occurred and from nearby surrounding areas. Fagundes, who was involved in the gold trade and was also a close associate of former drug convict Roger Khan, came under a hail of gunfire from 2 gunmen just as he left the nightclub. The gunman could be seen running across the road and shooting at him in surveillance video recordings. After standing over his body and firing additional shots, the 2 gunmen jumped into the back of a waiting white wagon and sped off from the scene. The same night, a white wagon was found ablaze in the Suze-Linden Highway community of Swan. Crime sleuths are convinced that it was the same getaway car, but are facing some difficulty in getting a clear identification of the car, since all of the chassis numbers were removed. Fagundes is expected to be laid to rest early in the new week. Police Commissioner Nigel Hoppy has written to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Manzoor Nadir, informing the Speaker that investigators probing the assault allegation against Government Minister Kwame McCoy could not ascertain that opposition MP Tabitha Sarabuhali was a victim of physical assault. In the letter, he said from the evidence obtained, there was evidence to indicate that the 2 parties indeed had an exchange of words, but there was nothing to suggest that any assault took place. A full report along with advice from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions was forwarded to the Speaker by the top cop. A few weeks ago, the chambers of the DPP recommended that the Speaker investigates the assault allegations, since the matter took place within the precincts of the National Assembly. The top cop in his letter also said the evidence of the CCTV would have been vital in the investigation. However, he noted there was none located in the area where the alleged incident occurred, adding that the alleged incident occurred within the confines of the National Assembly, and as such it was recommended that the matter be dealt with by the Speaker. During the consideration of the 2021 budget estimates, opposition member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabuhali alleged that Mr. McCoy hit her to the head on the corridors of the conference center where sittings of the Assembly are taking place. The opposition APNU-AFC had protested in Parliament to get the Speaker to investigate the matter. The opposition recently filed a motion for Mr. McCoy to be suspended from the House. Minister McCoy has denied the allegations. A 24-year-old man of North Rhineveld here in Georgetown was today slapped with several fraud charges for allegedly obtaining money by false pretense. The court heard that Mika Sunaram would use social media under the name Parts Zone to lure potential buyers and would pose as an authorized businessman to order and supply various pieces of machinery. He would then request those potential buyers to make a down payment and use several delaying tactics to further swindle monies from them and would fail to deliver the items. Alarms were raised when his customers inquired from shipping companies about the items that should have been bought. No records were found. The incident, which landed Sunaram before the Chief Magistrate today, took place between the 19th of November and the 29th of December last year. Being entrusted by Muhammad Ahmad, he fraudulently converted more than $3 million, which he obtained from the man to purchase an excavator. The machinery was never bought and was never delivered. The attorney for the accused made an application for bail, pointing out that his client will attend court and abide by any conditions attached to bail. The police prosecutor did not object to bail, but asked that Sunaram lodges his passport with the court and report to the police regularly. Bail was granted in the sum of $60,000, and Sunaram will make his next court appearance on the 31st of this month. He is no stranger to law enforcement. Earlier this month, he was charged with 2 counts of fraud for allegedly collecting over $11 million from potential buyers, promising to ship machinery, vehicles, and spare parts for them. He was granted $300,000 bail on those earlier charges. In the courts, a taxi driver was sentenced to 21 years in jail after he was found guilty of detaining and raping a 12-year-old girl. Justice Joanne Barlow handed down the sentence this morning after the jury found Sahadiyo Puran, also known as Omish, guilty of the crime. The incident occurred back in 2019. The convict broke down in tears in the courtroom as the judge handed down the sentence. His attorney wanted the court to be lenient in the sentence, but the prosecutor requested a tough sentence because of the nature of the crime. The prosecutor asked the court to consider that the man showed no remorse during the trial and had left a permanent stain on the life of the 12-year-old girl. The young girl was on her way to school when the taxi driver offered to take her. Once in the car, the man drove to a house where he locked the girl up and raped her. Although he cried openly in court and apologized for his actions, the judge went ahead and handed down the 21-year sentence. Turning now to the oil industry, Indian company HPCL Metal Energy Limited has purchased 1 million barrels of Guyana's crude, the Reuters news agency has reported. According to the report, the cargo departed last month in a vessel chartered by the trading firm Trafigura and marks the first cargo from the oil-producing country to the world's third-largest crude importer. The report said as OPEC's share in India's imports fell to historic lows between April of last year and January of this year, the refining powerhouse began making preparations to import Guyanese crude. Details of the sale remain sketchy. The report quoted Guyana's Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat as saying that the crude had been originally allocated to a New York-based Hess company, one of the companies producing oil in Guyana along with Exxon, and that he did not know the identity of the ultimate buyer of the cargo. Since Guyana began exporting crude, its oil has flowed mainly to the US, China, Panama, and parts of the Caribbean. India was a prominent importer of Venezuelan oil, but tight US sanctions on the South American country have since 2019 limited the volume that India can buy, if it is even allowed.
More employers are using social media to monitor employees. Here are some ways to maintain professionalism online. Never share confidential information about anyone, whether colleagues or clients. Do not share inappropriate posts from work gatherings. Keep company social media posts neutral. Never argue or make offensive comments. Never complain about your job to clients. Remember, what goes online stays online. Stop oversharing and get safe online.
I've taken my anti-filaria pills, all 9 of them, and if you notice, I'm all firm and intact. I'd like to encourage all Guyanese to also do the same in our fight and campaign against filaria, the elimination of filaria in Guyana. So we look forward to all of our citizens working with our teams from the Ministry of Health as they go around in our communities, meeting with you to administer these pills.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up, fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
the past 2 decades, the global community prioritized eliminating lymphatic filariasis, commonly known as filaria, as a public health problem. Many countries in the Americas have achieved this goal.
We're looking to have 100% eradication of this disease in Guyana. So we look forward to all of our citizens working with our teams from the Ministry of Health as they go around in our communities, meeting with you to administer this pills.
And I will encourage you all to take your pills so that we can once and for all rid Guyana of filariasis.
We have to get rid of the negatives in relation to filaria. So please let the science be your guide and take the tablets.
My family would be taking their pills. I do hope that you would also be taking your pills so that we can together work on eliminating filaria from Guyana.
Filaria gonna get knocked out, TKO.
A message from the Ministry of Health in collaboration with PAHO.
Across the region right now, Brazil's daily total COVID-19 death toll has passed 3,000 for the first time as the virus continues its rapid spread, pushing hospitals close to collapse. The country has recorded 298,676 deaths linked to coronavirus since the start of the pandemic, with experts saying the situation is virtually out of control in Brazil. The president, who repeatedly played down the virus, raised doubts about vaccines and defended unproven drugs as treatment. He said he will make 2021 the year of vaccinations. Brazil has been struggling with the rollout of its vaccination program, with just 6 doses administered per 100 people. Critics say the president was slow in negotiating supplies amid a worldwide run, leaving Brazil facing delays in receiving the vaccines. The Minister of Foreign Affairs in St. Kitts Nevis, Mark Brantley, has asked the United States for a donation of COVID-19 vaccines for the Twin Island Federation and the wider Caribbean region. The foreign minister, who is also the Premier of Nevis, said he had made the request through correspondences sent to the U.S. ambassador to the Eastern Caribbean states and Barbados, in which he implored the Joe Biden administration to make vaccines available to the small island developing states with some urgency. He said states in the Caribbean continue to make the passionate plea that vaccines be made available to them with some alacrity. He added that they are aware from reports in the New York Times that the great United States of America has made vaccines available to Mexico and Canada, and they would like to see the same vaccines being made available to the Caribbean. A statement issued on Monday by the Nevis Island administration said the Premier made a disclosure during his presentation at a recent virtual forum hosted by the Organization of American States. And finally tonight, international news. The United Kingdom and the European Union have said they are working on creating a win-win situation and to expand vaccine supply for all citizens as the row involving demand for the Oxford AstraZeneca jab continues. The UK government and the European Commission released a joint statement today. In that statement, they said they are all facing the same pandemic, and the third wave makes cooperation between the EU and the UK even more important. The statement added that they have been discussing what more can be done to ensure a reciprocally beneficial relationship between the EU and the UK on COVID-19. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, encouraging you to stay safe. Have a good night.